Steve back in Inglewood right now. Inglewood, get him, Steve. You in Inglewood, Steve? The Arizona Wildcat that came out and look at it.
Snoop Dogg, I salute you. You are a national treasure. But what happened to get Warriors head coach Steve Kerr so upset? I mean, it had been almost 6 years since he got ejected from a game. Remember when coaches wore suits? But we'd seen him lose it on Draymond in the huddle not too long ago. Heck, Draymond got himself tossed from a game a couple days ago against the Jazz, so what the heck is going on? Back in the first, Kerr got upset when he thought John Collins traveled on his post move. There's the old Macarena asking the refs to dance. Let's see, was he right? Well, the first foot to land when catching in the air is a pivot. In real time, we can say this was a jump stop. So lifting the right foot establishes a left foot as a pivot. He does lift that pivot maybe an instant before the ball leaves his hand, but in real time, the human eye can't discern for certain. So I've got no problem with the play on, and a little pat in the head gives him an and one. But let's get back to the fireworks. Just before the ejection, things were looking up for the Warriors. Steph treated us to 2 fantastic passes. One when he was getting chased into a double team, and check the no look. And the thing is, he knew where the open cutter was since Batum came from that corner. Didn't have to look, just time it right. But then he gets whistled for a foul as the Clippers are running a horn set where I bet Miller was going to flare off of Zubats, but when he catches Steph on the high side, they lob it over for a layup, and Curry pretty much has to take a chance by holding him and hope they don't notice. They were having some fun with it, and Steph definitely found it funny, so a little harm, a little foul. And here's Kerr convincing himself it was a good call, too. It was Draymond's turn to throw a gorgeous dime as BP slips the pin down to Steph, catching Dunn way out of position for the layup. Wait, what? He doesn't shoot this? This almost directly leads to the ensuing insanity. I know BP is a lefty, but come on, just put it off the glass with your right hand, 2-point game. Instead, he kicks it out, and now we've got problems. John Collins comes around that handoff, and it looks like he's almost taking the foul, so Steph quick releases this 20 feet in the air at least before it actually drops straight through. But listen to when the whistle blows. The lead ref waited till after it went in to go review the contact in his head and decide to call the foul, but wave off the basket. Steph cannot believe they're doing that, but guess what? According to the rules, a player driving to the hoop needs to have gathered the ball, in this case when he touches it with both hands, before the foul occurs for this to be a shooting foul. Kerr would have rather the whistle not blown since they ended up inbounding it and come away with no points when Curry misses a tough three, and Kerr is still mad as he waves his hand at the refs. Now, was this a foul? The high five rule only allows contact of the shooter's hand if there isn't a secondary motion, and I don't know, Dunn kind of brings that arm down into the contact. And that leads us right into this possession where the defense screwed up its rotation. You don't want 2 defenders bumping down to the post, leaving a decent shooter wide open from 1 pass away. Draymond is pissed that happened, but they come down to run the vaunted Green Curry pick and roll. Dunn screws up the switch and stays too close to Curry for too long. Zubats has to rotate over, Batum is late bumping down, and when I tell you the entire stadium saw this goaltend, I'm serious. I was in the stands for this game, and not far from this basket, and no one could believe the refs missed this obvious call. It wasn't a pin, which is also a goaltend, or something that was the difference of a fraction of a second or something. Collins just cold goaltended it, and that was it. Kerr tries jumping up and down on the sidelines, but that wasn't satisfying, and Curry reaches in almost to stop the game so he can argue about the call on the other end. And meanwhile, Coach Kerr is down on this side of the floor on the court, giving the refs some serious and how. That's effing horseshit. What the F is wrong? Come on! And a few other choice words that clearly will get you that second tech and an early trip to the locker room to watch the rest of the game on the TV. It ended up hurting them big time because it gave the Clippers 2 free throws and they ultimately won the game in a thriller by 1 point. And it's the same kind of thrill you'll feel when you're playing Prize Picks, where all you have to do is pick more or less in a variety of different sports. And Prize Picks now has early payouts. If your player gets off to a hot start, you can cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. Here's my lineup for tonight as I've got 3 lead guards going over their predicted output with Luka lighting up the Pelicans, Garland getting back on track versus the Pacers, and Tyler Hero taking advantage of no Anthony Edwards. Follow me on the app so you can just copy my lineups, something you'll benefit from during basketball season. Best of all, download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. I mentioned Dunn screwed up the switch earlier. Well, how about this doozy? I know you got to guard Steph when he walks in the gym, but he's literally not in the game right now. And guess who Dunn is supposed to be guarding? At least we got a my bad from him. Not sure if Kerr's tirade changed the way the refs called the game or if it even rallied his troops, since they couldn't close the deficit until Curry emerged out of a 2-for-13 slump to hit these two in the last 90 seconds, thrilling the Clippers faithful and getting the loudest roars of the night. But this gamble wasn't worth the risk, compromising the defense enough to cause severe rotations that almost got the stop, but Curry didn't get back on the inside of his man. Stuff happens, but he then foolishly fouls Dunn with his shot clock at 1.4 seconds. And it was his 6th foul. So not only did the Clippers get a 3-point lead, but the Warriors were left without the greatest endgame shooter we've ever seen. And that's how the Clippers survived this epic game.
Butler, no, scramble underneath.
That'll do it.
It's over, and the Clippers hold on.